Welcome, Facebook and YouTube. How you doing? This is Robert Jenkins. It's a Friday afternoon. We're trying to restart this again. God bless you as always. Me and my wife, I can take out the time to say thank you for all those that support us. And we hope that many people do come back. God bless you. We're talking today about brothers talking to brother concerning the way of Cain. Cain was a very serious brother in the Bible, killed his own brother Abel. First black on black crime was in the Bible. Good to see everybody. Captain Forrest, thank you for coming back. And we want to talk about when jealousy and envy comes in the family. And many people are mad at God. Many people are mad at God, but we take it out on one another. And be surprised at the anger and jealousy that cause us to kill one another. So this happens in the family, and I want to talk about it. All this week we're going to talk about the family. Today we're talking about brothers not getting along, the spirit of envy, the spirit of jealousy, all these things happen in the family. So it's very serious. Tomorrow we're going to talk about men on the down low, homosexual spirits that has been invading the churches for years and causing men not to be men of God that they're called to be. So we're going to deal with some serious issues this week, and we're going to talk. So this week is going to be a week of talking. I'm going to have a lot of interviews, and we're just going to do a lot of things and begin to deal with those. Okay, I see you here, Reggie. Did you find that button? If not, I'll wait till you get home. But you have to do it on your phone. You can't do it on your laptop, Reggie. It has to be on your phone or you won't be able to come on. If Pastor Michael Scott is here, then let me know. I see Ricky Thomas is here. So good to have you, man. God bless you. Go ahead and hit that invite button at the bottom. I see Demetrius. Calling you the mistress. Mr. Anderson is here, a great person that I met out of Florida, got a powerful spirit. I'm going to have him come on as well. So, Rick, if you can hit that, Prophet James Summers, if you're able to come on today, man, I would love for you to come on as well. So I just want to have as many brothers. Let's talk about this black on black crime, this brother killing brother, the spirit of Cain, how to handle it, how to fix it, how to deal with it. Let's just be honest about it, okay? So we're going to have real conversation. I'm waiting for Rick. If you can hit that invite button, do that. If not, Demetrius, if you can hit that invite button, go ahead and do that. Thank you. Okay, we're waiting for Rick to come on. This is 10 years. Met him in Charlotte. Had a whole lot to do with my ministry in Charlotte and things like that. It just was a divine connection. And he's a movie producer. We've produced a couple of movies together. Just a powerful young. There you go. What's up, Rick?
What's going on, Jinx? How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing? You in the car?
Yeah.
That's your man cave.
You said what?
I said that's your man cave.
My man cave. You already know. For 2 more weeks.
I hear you, man. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you. Love you as always. And we talked about the Cain, dealing with the spirit of Cain and two brothers growing up. So, give me some background or wisdom or experience in you growing up. I know your brother, and
you said give you some what?
Background or experience or wisdom to the people concerning dealing with favoritism of your brother or different things like that. We basically basing it off the Cain and Abel and how this spirit can come in and divide you as a brother, or even some of the favoritism. I don't know how transparent you're willing to be or is able to be, but dealing with that. I talked about my brother. My brother hated me for years because I was a church, and my mother had favoritism towards me because I went to church and my brother rather get high and different things like that. And so the spirit of Cain was definitely in my family. And if it was not for the grace of God, me and my brother would not be talking today. My brother's a very deep thinker, but he was not a religious thinker. So because of that, it causes problems. So I want to help people who are growing up with this spirit, who hate their brother or feel like the favoritism has divided them and they don't know how to get back. So if you have any input on that, and I need you to look at the camera because people are watching you.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was trying to get my audio right.
Okay. All right. So just share with me on that, or what God has given you about that, the pros, the cons, or however you see it.
I mean, I gotta look at that, having to face. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Like dealing with having a brother. I mean, my brother's six years younger than me, and he was military, and we were really close up until the time he went to the military. And he went through some things in the military. I begged him not to go, and my family, the whole family begged him not to go. But he was just so ready at 18 to get away from get away from home, that he was, he wanted to get away, and he experienced some bad things in the military. I don't know if anybody have family members out there that are in the military, but when he came back, he can't get his benefits. He came back diagnosed with PTSD, and he actually did some things here in Charlotte. I mean, we live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he actually did some things in Charlotte that had him locked up for 9 years, and God delivered him. But going back to the topic, we dealt with some, jealousy. My mom, she was crushed at it. It crushed my mom's heart. So the whole focus became about my brother. In my life, I guess I kind of went through some jealousy a little bit, or some, feelings. I had feelings, emotions. If it was jealousy, I don't know, but it's kind of seemed like when you have a family member that's in trouble, all the attention and all the priority goes there. And what I'm saying? I had to deal with that, and it was but the grace of God that got me through, And we have a close relationship. He's back now. He's been home for almost a year now, and we're building our relationship back up, and we're getting back together, But it's been rough. It's a real thing, Cain and Abel happened in the very beginning of the Bible. So this is a real topic, a real issue, and I appreciate you for bringing it up.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man. I mean, you said a very powerful point. I want to put a pin right there. When all the attention go to the brother that's in trouble, and the mindsets that come along with that. I'm not in trouble. I'm doing what's right. I'm not having these issues, and I'm being
Right,
overlooked. Here's the brother that's in trouble that really need attention, but I don't really know how to
right,
handle that when I have gotten what I thought I needed, even prior to that situation. And this happens.
right,
So as brothers, how do we deal with when my brother need attention or need love, but I may be feeling like I'm not getting what I need, or does he have to have all of it? Can I not be forsaken or overlooked due to his problems? And a lot of times, what
right,
is glorified that I'm not making no mistakes, but it doesn't matter how good I am, I'm never the golden one. But it don't matter how bad
right,
he can be, he's always the golden one. And this has happened, these things created, in that. And if it wasn't for the grace of God, you could have became a Cain and really been
yeah,
mad at him. And sometimes we have Cains that are not physically Cains, but they're verbally Cains, and destroy the
right,
credibility in other people's minds about your brother, and that's very key. And so we see a lot of that. Your situation didn't get that drastic, but a lot of young brothers, their brothers is dead because of this animosity. They literally
right,
physically killed their brother, and this happens a lot of times. Or both brothers end up in prison because of the controversy that happened and they got out of hand and the law had to get involved. Or I'm done, I move out of town and I write off mama, dad, brother, and I'll never talk to no one ever again. And I live my life, and some people go on and get married and have kids, but they live with that unforgiveness of what happened to them in their childhood, and they
right,
never come. And so this very happens. So me being a person that's trying to build us, and I think we have to recognize this, because sometimes we preach too much about shouting and speaking in tongues, but we don't deal with real practical situations. And you can be saved and loving God, but hating your brother because of what you had to endure in the home. And a lot of times we're not prepared for a problem that um, basically gets a jump on us. No one planned this, but it happened. We thought when he went to military, even though we didn't want him to go to military, that he made a decision, and then his
right,
decision brings him into some trouble. And I can imagine how he feel that I wanted to go to military. I thought that was best for me. We don't know what he was struggling with. They say if I stay home, some other things may happen, and then he goes to do the right thing in military, and then military turns on him, or cause him to be mentally disturbed, and those are real issues. This happens to saints, it happens to preachers' kids, it happens to people who travel all over the world. Their sons and daughters trouble. I remember when T.D.
right,
Jakes came out, and people may not know that, but he struggled with his son struggling with homosexuality. This is T.D. Jakes. His daughter gets pregnant before she's married. These are real issues that go on in the home. We don't know what went on in the home of the famous preacher who preached all over the world, but sons are fighting. And I can imagine, even going back to the Bible now, Cain and Adam and Eve, they just was trying to do the right thing, got tricked by the devil, and this is what come out of it: a Cain and an Abel. Their first two children, the first two children on the earth, And we see, and I know we want to blame black and black crime on the projects and on welfare, but black and black crime started in the Bible. Of the original people of the earth are African American people, or of the dark persuasion, however we want to pronounce that, we would see that the first black and black crime is done by two brothers. And this spirit bleeds through the whole entire Bible. So I want to ask you another question. I got a lot of guests. How do you deal with, because the main thing that Cain dealt with was offense. He couldn't deal, he got offended with God and he took it out on his brother. Do you see a lot of that? There are a lot of people that are into crime, stealing, drug dealers, murderer, whatever the case may be, really have an internal hate with God of how they think God sees them, and they take it out on their community, on their family, or on their city. So what do you say about that?
Well, I mean, from my past experiences, I would actually say that these young guys that get in trouble and do these things in the community, they actually fear God, and they're very, as they say on paper, are apologetic. You know, I in my experience, I've been in prison. I've been there. You know what I'm saying? I've seen the insides of it. And these people take prayer seriously. They they call it, when you get in prison, you find religion. That's what they say. You know what I'm saying? But they were more so had a reason, earthly realm reason why they did what they did. It was because they had family to feed, or, you know what I'm saying, they were short in money and needed, you know what I'm saying? So their story was almost always the same, that there was an earthly cause and they wish their lives would be better, and they always ask if God would forgive them. Even if they don't have a true ritualistic belief, or, you know what I'm saying, any kind of faith or whatever, they still hope that God would believe, would forgive them.
Okay, so you don't think that the spirit of Cain, as far as upset with God, have anything to do with their decisions and behavior?
I mean, if it did, they didn't express that verbally. I've never heard. I mean, I've been alive a while. I haven't heard anybody express, my anger with God made me do something to my brother and my sister. It's always been, you know what I'm saying, the Cain and Abel story is so unique. I haven't seen that actually play out here in this earthly realm, or, living here. I just have not seen that. But I'm sure the anger is with God in some
Oh,
way, verbally, some way.
yeah. And that's the whole thing I want to deal with, because this is something that has been denied or overlooked or pushed back. Cain didn't want to accept it either. When God dealt with Cain and said, "Why are you mad? Why are you angry?" Abel had did nothing. Abel had did nothing to Cain. So this is not a natural situation where he's taking it out on his brother. His anger is when he offered up something to God, and God did not receive it. And so and God said to him, "If you would do what's right." And so the Cain spirit is a very denial. Most people don't understand. That's why I wanted to bring it out. Most people don't understand that somewhere deep, deep down, you have an anger with God. Not about, even if you don't call it God, it's life didn't work out for me. Education didn't. I didn't play sports. I got hurt early in the game. You angry about things not working out, which ultimately is really about God. But you may not see it like that. You see it that I got her pregnant, now I can't do what I'm called to do because I got to raise my kids. It looked like a natural situation, but a lot of times, because we know ultimately God has a plan for us, so we question, why ain't God's plan work in my favor? So we may not see it like that. So, and that's why I want to deal with that, because this Cain spirit is a cover-up spirit. It's hard to trace it, because it seemed like it has nothing to do with God. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It seems like that. But at the end of the day, you're upset about your identity. Your dad wasn't in your home. Something is frustrating you, that you feel like this responsibility is on your hands. But I appreciate that, man, what you gave me in that time. Go ahead. You have something to say?
Well, I was gonna say I agree with that. That's always the excuse. We can find a reason within their home value system or their life that's the cause. But in reality, if they were to tell the truth, they hate in God. They're mad at God. I understand the concept of what you're saying.
Right. So thank you for that, man. I love you so much, man. You have blessed me so much.
Love you too, bro, man.
And thank you, man. Thank you for taking out the time of your day.
All right, Jinx.
All right. All right. Okay, that was Rick, and we thank God for him. A good friend of mine he was out of Charlotte. Make sure you can still hear me and see me. I want to know that. Michael Scott, if you're still on there, I would love for you to come on if you're still there. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. We had some difficulty yesterday, so that's so important that you let me know. I'm waiting. Okay, good. Thank you, baby. Okay, Pastor Michael Scott, if you're on there, let me know. Demetrius, if you're on there, please let me know. Just hit that invite button. Reggie, if you're home and you're able to hit that invite button, you're going to need to be on the phone, though, Reggie. So I'm waiting on Pastor Michael Scott, Demetrius, Reggie Wright, James Summers, if you're on, please hit that invite button. We're talking to men. I want to deal with the issues. I want to have conversations today. I don't want to preach to you. I don't want to necessarily bring out a Bible class. I want to talk about men that were angry. Brother Rick talked about, this is a young man who did some time in prison. His brother did about 9 years in prison. I think it was something like that. These are real men, grew up. The jealousy that happens, we take it out brother to brother. You know, it bothers me as a preacher, all the killing that goes on in our city. It bothers me as a preacher when I see our young men with their pants sagging. And it's not necessarily pants sagging. I'm more concerned about what's in their mind that makes them weak to a system of thinking that if everybody put their pants down, now you follow the crowd. I'm more concerned about that. I'm more concerned that we have young men who know how to have an individual thought of their own and understand the mind of Christ. I'm more concerned about that. But it bothers me when we deal this, or unforgiveness in the family, that the devil can come in through natural resources versus sports, or one is light skinned, one is dark skinned. They have different fathers, and literally separate the family. We should be bothered that the family has been separated. And so I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned that we as people don't know how to deal with the root of jealousy and bitterness, that jealousy can come in your home. Nothing is worse than your own sister being jealous of you, or your own brother being jealous of you, or your own mother and father being jealous of you, or causing tension in the family because you treat one above the other. I remember watching the movie Boys in the Hood, and they talked about the two brothers. You know, Ice Cube played one of them, and he talked about how, I know why he loved this boy. The one who played football, she had favoritism towards him. And in the movie, they said because he got a different daddy, and she still loved the daddy. And we should not take things out on the children because of the fathers or the lack of fathers. But this happens. It's bad enough that you don't have a male in the home. It's bad enough that you don't have a husband and they don't have fathers to help raise them. And then we let that cause separatism in the home. You know, I remember going to church when I was young, and sometimes I would see the mother come to church. She just is clean. She got on the best of clothes, and the children got on nasty clothes, no proper tennis shoes or shoes. Clothes ain't been washed nor ironed, no quality, but the mother looked like she coming out the Grammys. This is a terrible situation. Or you have one kid that's dressed real nice and another kid is not. Or one kid has more toys than the other. Or they're not taught how to share. And so this creates an animosity between two brothers. Okay? And this is real talk. Okay? So I want to deal with that, and you grow up in that. I know it from every aspect. I grew up, my mother had favoritism towards me. And as much as I thank God for my mother in the spiritual aspect, my mother gave me a Bible, my brother needed more love than I did. He really needed the expression of love. And even though if I'm already doing the right thing and I'm in church and I'm praising God and I'm reading my Bible, and your other son is getting high and want to gamble and doing some things, it would seem to be that, Mama, you would see that he needs more attention than I needed. But a lot of times the mother is going through her own pain because of the husband who left her with two sons, that she's so bitter that she doesn't even know how. She's so broken, she don't even know how to balance her love or discern. Every child is different. You can't raise every child the same. So this is another aspect, because how do you raise two children differently because they're different without letting the spirit of jealousy come in? And sometimes you have to sit down and talk to your children together and let them see it. And I'm not saying that every answer that I give will perfectly work, but we have to begin on the journey, because we don't want a Cain and Abel. And And I can even go deeper than that. Sometimes it's not two natural brothers, but sometimes it's two mindsets that live within you. And the Cain will kill your Abel. What's Abel from the spiritual side of you, because you're not dealing with your flesh. I did a whole teaching on how to raise Cain. Because there's a Cain on the outside, but there's a Cain on the inside of all of us that will destroy your spirituality, that will destroy your passion, because that Cain is upset. And the flesh is a part of this Cain. Okay, so all the different things that we have to deal with. So I'm waiting on some people. Pastor Michael Scott, if you're still on, please hit that invite button. Demetrius, if you're still on, please hit that invite button. Prophet James Summers, if you're still on, please hit that invite button. I want to talk to some other men, but this is real. I almost lost my whole entire ministry because of the Cain that was on the inside of me, that was fighting the Abel side of me, the breath of God, the Spirit of God, because I didn't know what to do with my nature. I didn't know what to do with my sexuality. I didn't know what to do with my passion from the flesh. And just because I preach on Saturday don't mean that preach on Sunday don't mean that I don't want to have sex Saturday night. And all these things in the Cain in us. The Cain name means possessor. And there's a possessive side of your flesh that will destroy everything that's able in you. So this is not only real with two brothers and sisters, but it's real with two nations inside of you. Everybody has a Cain and an Abel inside of them. Everybody has a Jacob and Esau. Everybody has these two brothers that are inside of you. And you got to know what to do with the Cain, because he'll kill everything that's able. So it's physical and it's spiritual. Am I making sense to you, okay? And I'm hoping that I have more brothers. Good to see you, Daryl Hines, man. I would love to have you come on and talk with me about this subject for a couple minutes. If you can, hit that invite button, man, and let's talk about this. But this is real. Growing up, hating your brother, hating other brothers. Most men don't know how to deal with men who are powerful. Most men, we are driven by our ego. I hope I'm talking to you today. So if you meet another man who makes more money than you, you'll become a Cain. I remember going to churches, and they would bring me into churches as a guest preacher. And those other ministers wanted to kill me. They hated me because we've been here for years and we can't get a Sunday to preach at. We don't even know you, and you walk in, the pastor lets you preach. They're giving you $1,000 for you preaching here, and here we are suffering. We don't miss not one Bible study. We don't miss no Friday night services, but the pastor don't want to use us. And you can, as a powerful man of God, you can create a Cain and Abel spirit between your other brothers in the ministry because of how you being used and how they're being overlooked. And I remember being that guest preacher coming to there, and the other brothers didn't want to shake my hands, didn't want to say amen while I was preaching. And I'm saying, what, they don't love the word? They don't love God? No, they got a problem. They have become Cain, and the spirit of jealousy has entered into their mind because we're not being used. We don't get those same benefits. We don't get to go to the pastor's house after service is over. And all of a sudden now everybody loves you because you're the hero, but you're going to take that money and leave and go to the next church, go to the next city, and we left here with all these problems, okay? And this is real talk, and this creates a Cain. You'll notice when brothers get together, the first question they ask one another is, what do you do, man? And if you're a doctor and you're a lawyer, and I say, you know what, I work at McDonald's. I'm intimidated. The Cain spirit comes in me, so I got to find something wrong with you. I got to find something wrong with you because I can't handle being around a man who has seemed to be more power or more anointing or more money or more prestige. All these things can create a Cain and Abel. And we got Cain and Abel every day in churches. In the local churches, you got Cain trying to kill Abel's, and they'll kill your reputation. They'll kill your passion. They'll try to kill your gift and your anointing because they're not where they need to be. Jealousy comes up. I had some friends in life that they hate everybody that do what they do. They hate everybody to do what they do if they're not successful. So if they, say for instance, they are a singer and they see other singers getting record deals, they see other singers traveling across the world, they can't stand them. He can't sing, she can't sing, they're terrible. But the minute they get a record deal, the minute they get famous, now they're the most lovable people in the world. But they can't celebrate you when they think that I should be in that spot. And a lot of times this Cain spirit comes on because I'm the one that should have a wife. You got a wife and I ain't got a wife? I have many friends to this day that right now, they have a problem with me because, man, you've been married so many times and you got a wonderful wife. How many times you gonna mess up? And I ain't messed up that many times and I can't find nobody. Real talk, okay? And this creates the Cain and Abel spirit. So I want to talk to you today about that. Because are we going to keep hating on our brothers? Black on black crime, hating one another. Even preachers won't get along. This Cain and Abel spirit is even in the pulpit. Yeah, because if I can't manipulate you and bend you to my rules and make you a servant to my ministry, if I can't demote your anointing and make you serve me, then I cut you off. I'm done with you. I only get along with ministers that make themselves a servant to my anointing. And this happens and we create a Cain and Abel spirit, and they'll literally kill you in the eyes of people. There's many ways to kill a man. I put a post up the other day. The greatest way to kill a man on the inside is to take away his words. To take away his words, come on, and his dignity. If you take away his words, you're killing, you're destroying. And we're going to talk about this tomorrow in my Father's house. We're going to talk about how many men have become impotent just so they can be on the praise team, or just so they can be on the prayer team or the ministerial team. Because we as men, we got a Cain. What happens if Cain is the bishop? What happened if Cain is the pastor? What happened if Cain is your supervisor? What happened if Cain is your daddy? This spirit can creep in. And all through the Bible, we see the Cain. It's a murderer. And how many of us have been murdered by the lips of other people, by the words of other people, because they can't deal with how God favors us? I know people love to say, I'm chosen and I got God's favor on my life. But you know what? You having God's favor on your life could introduce you to a Cain. And you never know that your best friend, who y'all been friends for years, what turned on you the minute God's favor came up. The minute that God's favor was in the house and it was seen, you all of a sudden now, the guy who been with you, y'all ate bologna sandwich together, y'all went to school together, you was winning when he bought his first car, but when he seen how God elevated you, oh, it happens. And this Cain and Abel is real. I've been in relationships where Cain and Abel. I've been in friendships where there's Cain and Abel. And this is a real talk. And we can't keep ignoring it. We can't keep doubting people and criticizing people. We got to talk about how do we stop the spirit of Cain. Okay? And let me tell you something. Cain wants it the way he wants it. And there's some people, now we talking real talk today. There's some people that they're upset because God didn't agree with their mess. They want to preach and still have sex, fornication, adultery. They still want to get high. They still want to do things on the sideline. They still want to do pornography. But they want God to receive their praise when they go on Sunday morning. They live a public life and a private life, live in two different worlds. Publicly on Sunday morning, they live in one world, but privately Monday through Saturday, they live in a whole nother world. And they get upset when God don't favor their mess. When God don't favor their mess. This happens a lot of times. And so you see jealousy. I've never seen so many cutthroat preachers in my life. Okay? And I'm telling you, it's real talk. Okay? And so there is a Cain and there is an Abel. Now, I wanted to have some guests today, so I'm hoping that they show up, okay? So, but I'm asking for Demetrius, if you're still on. Pastor Michael Scott, if you're still on. Reggie, I know you're on your way home. He's coming from work. I've seen Prophet James Summers also just give an invite to some brothers. I want to talk to you about it. Do you deal with it? I hate it that I lost my brother because I was trying to do the right thing in my family. Me loving God and reading the Bible as a child should not be at the expense of seeing my mother mistreat my brother. Yes, my brother had some issues that needed to be dealt with. Okay, you home? I need you to be on your phone, Reggie. If you can be on your phone and hit that invite button, it's at the bottom of your phone. It should be like a little man, and you hit that, and then we can get that started. But I saw that, and me and my brother had some serious battles. And I want to talk to the Cain and Abel. Before there is violence, we need to have conversation. Matter of fact, to stop the violence, what could have happened if Cain and Abel could have had a conversation? We see this when we see people who put emphasis on black power and stuff like that. We fight against one people want to choose Malcolm X, another people want to choose Dr. Martin Luther King. And why we have to fight, why we have to have that. And one teaches nonviolence, one teaches by any means necessary. There we go. Okay, so we have mind like I said earlier, we've been friends probably since I've been 11 years old. This particular man knows me probably more than anybody in my life besides my wife, as far as years is concerned. Reggie, you have to approve that once you. There we go. Okay, I don't see you. It's dark, but you up. Is the lights on? There we go. You got to turn your phone the other way, Reggie. You got to turn your phone, Reggie. You got to turn your phone. I'm trying to get his attention. Can somebody type up there? You got to turn your phone. Baby, put up on the screen. Please turn your phone. Turn your volume up. But this is a young man who's been knowing me a long time in my life. We've been friends. We've been through a lot. Close. You're breaking up. Reggie, I don't know if you can do this from your basement. Sweetheart, can you type? Can you type in there? Thank you. You're gonna have to go upstairs, Reggie. I don't think the reception is gonna be good in your basement. All right. Please. Okay, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Thank you for coming out. Please take out the time to start inviting people. Please hit that share button. Share this on your page. Good. What's going on, man? You're breaking up. You need to get where you can get a good signal. Okay, there we go. Can you hear me? You're breaking up. You're breaking up. Are you too close? Do you have on more than one phone? Or what's going on? I can hear you, but you're breaking up. You're breaking up, my brother. Yeah, it sounds like you're breaking up. You're gonna need to buy another phone. You got to get rid of that cricket. We may have to bring you on. May, yeah, you're breaking up. Okay, we'll try to bring him back. God bless everybody. Please hit that share button. Clear. You know, we talking as a family today. Okay, thank you, sweetheart. We're talking about, I want to have some brothers on. I want to talk to you. We're talking about this Cain and Abel. We're talking about jealousy in the pulpit. We're talking about how a lot of times we don't know how to get along with our brothers, how to handle jealousy. I want to talk to it, favoritism. Good to see so many people out. Okay. Okay, let's see if it worked now. Are you there? Hello? I can't hear you, Reggie. I can't hear you, my brother. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a good reception with you in your basement. Yeah, you're breaking up though. I can't understand nothing that you're saying. Pastor Harding, how you doing, man? God bless you. I would love for you to come on and give us some wisdom today concerning brother relationship. Reggie, another day. We have to work that out. Pastor Harding, God bless you, man. Hit that invite button. I would love to have you on. We're talking about Cain and Abel, talking about growing up with brothers, or even the Cain and Abel that comes in the pulpit, and how we kill one another, how we don't always respect the anointing, and how many people, and I want to say this, many people are mad with God, but they take it out on one another. Many people are mad with God. If you're on your phone, Pastor Dwayne Harton, please go ahead and hit that invite button, man. I would love to have you on, even if you're not able to stay on long for a couple seconds, and let's share some things together concerning this jealousy and how to fight, how to deal with it. But it's something that, and this is something that me and Prophet James Summers, we have a ministry on Tuesdays called In My Father's House. And it's so deep, it's so hard to get brothers to come together. It's so hard to get brothers to be honest. It's so hard for us to learn how to respect one another and to respect one another's anointing. Okay? And so this is what I'm all about. Empowering, bringing back family. It's if it's on your phone, it's at the bottom. There's like a man with a little arrow there. If you own your phone, I don't know if you'll see it on your laptop, but on your phone, it's at the bottom of your phone. There you go. Okay, we're connected. I just added you, so you should be okay in a couple seconds. This is another friend. He's a drummer. We've been friends for years. I mean, at least 30 years. We've been friends, and I'm telling you, a powerful man of God. He has a ministry in Atlanta. Outstanding drummer, just an outstanding individual. What's going on? You gotta turn your phone the other way.
The other way?
Yeah, cause there we go. Yeah, there we go. What's going on? My brother, man, I love you so much. I'm so glad you was able to come on today, man.
Yeah, I was just preparing to go on, and I said, if I want any viewers, I better wait and see if hold on, or else
all that. But man, I'm talking about the Cain and Abel spirit. I'm talking about the first black on black crime. We believe that the African American person or the dark persuasion is the original people of the earth. So I'm talking about how Cain killed Abel. He was mad at God, but he took it out on his brother. And I'm talking about this is very common that people don't realize that a lot of people are into a lot of things because they're really mad at God. They're mad at God for not making their life the way it should be or where they think it should be. And so this is very common. And then I'm talking about the Cain and Abel that is in all of us. I believe all of us have a Cain and an Abel inside of us. And how if you don't deal with the natural side of who you are, it will destroy the spiritual side. And so I hear a lot of preachers that they get caught up in homosexuality or whatever the case may be because they didn't know how to raise their Cain. And I did a whole session on that Cain can't be destroyed. He has to be raised because your flesh is never saved, and how to deal with that. And then I want to deal with, and I thank God for you when we have great minds that come together, and sometimes you will experience that Cain and Abel, even in your own family, that the minute they see God's favor on your life, they spill negative words about you and really try to kill you. And it's not your fault that God is using you, but they're mad because God may not be using them in the same way, you know. So I want to talk about all those dynamics. Almost lost my brother. I got one brother, you know, but I almost lost my brother because my mother had more favoritism towards me because I was a church boy. I went to church because she went to church. I played the drums. She loved that. My brother didn't want to be involved in church. he got more into the streets and getting high. But he's a great young man, but he didn't have the same thing. So this happens in the homes, this dysfunction. And sometimes, brothers, we was able to come together and reconcile. We had a very powerful talk. We both cried, but we almost lost one another because of what my mother wasn't trying to have favoritism. It's just I was into what she was into. And she had
Right.
struggles, so it made it easier for her to parent me than him. Because my mother had a lot of challenges. So this happens. I've been at churches where I would come into the church, uh, man, and they would hate me because the pastor would bring me in, but they have never preached, and they've been there 2 years. And so they didn't want to hate me, but why are you being used and we not? So sometimes it's created, this Cain and Abel. So I just want to deal with all those aspects. And I know you've been through it. A lot of times the people you think should support you and be behind you, they don't. And these are the people who really know you and know what you've been through. They know what you labor. They know you for real, but they'll support somebody else that may be a jacklade or may not be real. And how do you deal with that? Because you can become Cain, So I just want to deal with those aspects and just have real conversation. This whole week, I'm gearing it towards families. So yesterday I talked about fathers. Brothers talked
Right.
about fathers. And so today
Right.
I'm dealing with brothers. And tomorrow I want to deal with people who I grew up, my stepfather was a homosexual. So tomorrow I'm dealing with men who didn't know their identity. They may be in homosexuality. They may have been molested. And I want to deal with how to come out of that and just deal with that whole feminine spirit that's castrating our men. So this whole week I'm dedicated. And then Wednesday I'm going to deal with the sisters and the lesbian spirit. And although I think my mother was a lesbian, I don't have any facts, but my dad shared with me some things. Her girlfriend, so-called girlfriend, shared with me some things. So this is real, and it goes on in the home. And people don't know what you go through when you're done preaching, when you're done playing. They don't know what raised you or what shaped you, So give me your take on that, man. I know you got a lot. I said a lot to you, but give me your take on that, man.
Man, first of all, it's pretty powerful that you're doing this, and I appreciate it. I like everything you do. I support you tremendously, and so it's very powerful statement that you're making, um, and aiming to heal those Cain and Abel. What do I say? Cain and Abel spirits.
Right.
Both of them. I believe there's a Saul inside of every David.
Right.
I believe that. And I believe it takes a Saul to pull David out.
Wow.
I mean, a Saul to get Saul out of David.
Right.
So there is and a lot of times we run from the Saul that's cleaning us out.
Woo, that's good, man. That's good.
And David was somebody who was steadfast, though. He kind of accepted it. And I believe it was because there was a call on his life that he had, the oil had given him grace to stick to the call. You know what I mean?
Woo, yes, sir.
He had this oil that didn't let him slide away from the call.
Wow.
The oil closer into the call. The oil acted like glue.
Wow.
To the call.
Wow.
And development of process.
Yeah.
And see, one of the things that people hate, and I'm seeing this every day, brother, process. And I can preach process because I've been through it and still go through it. I don't think you ever stop maturing.
Right.
And the minute you do is the minute you have ceased to accept.
Right.
I don't think that you ever stop developing or going through a process of becoming greater, moving from that 30 to 60 to 100-fold.
Right.
I don't believe you ever stop that process. Many times, like Saul, and I said there's a Saul inside of every David.
Right.
But I also believe there's a David in every Saul.
Come on, man.
You understand? So, but it's about decision making, and that's what I was about to talk about in just a little bit. It's about decision making.
Okay.
Am I going to handle the moment that defines my purpose in the future?
Woo. Wow.
Now, what's interesting is Cain killed Abel, and God knew it.
Right.
But everyone that was supposed to exist was supposed to come through Cain.
Come on.
But Cain gave a horrible offering unto the Lord.
Right.
And he did not like the fact that his brother offered the thing that God wanted.
Right.
But his brother wasn't the one with the call.
Right. Woo.
His brother was just obedient.
Right. Come on, man.
Jealous of the obedience. Now, here's my question is what happens when you're the carrier of purpose, but you get jealous of somebody else who ain't even got what you got?
My God, man.
What are you going to pass down generation to generation?
Mm.
And I hope I'm making sense.
Oh, you making sense.
Next generation going through your loins,
Right.
going to with and have to fight with.
Wow.
For example, the children of Israel were supposed to go through the wilderness, be out there 11 days, walk through, and then fight through, get to Canaan and take over the land. It was a promise, correct?
Right.
Now, it takes them 40 years, and they never go over.
Right.
Their kids go over.
Right.
And the Lord spoke to me years ago, and he said this. He said, the children weren't supposed to fight. They were supposed to be born in.
Ooh.
They were supposed to be born. Daniel Townsend, I was praying for you today. I want you to get in touch with me. The children were supposed to be born in the promised land,
Oh my God.
not fight to get in. That wasn't their fight.
Oh my God. That's great, man.
It was their parents' fight.
Yes. Yes.
And the parents refused to fight it because they preferred slavery.
Ooh. Oh
All
my
right.
God.
So what are you supposed to deal with, Cain,
Right.
that you're willing to commit murder instead of deal with your own self?
Ooh. Come on, man.
You know, what is that you're not willing to give up? And pride will keep you locked in so much so till the generations following you will be devastated by that very same thing. Am I making
Come
sense?
on. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what we find here, Apostle, is that we have things that a lot of times we're born with, which are iniquitous patterns. Iniquitous
Right.
patterns, things we're born with,
Right.
or something passed down to us. You know, you end up fighting a homosexual spirit because
Right.
this person
Right.
has a homosexual spirit, or
Right.
you end up fighting anger because
Right.
your your dad had
Right.
anger in him.
Right.
So uh, it's not like I'm trying to pick certain things, but that thing there will be a tinge of it inside of you. And the word iniquity means to be bent. And I often use the bow and arrow and how you reaching for the mark, because sin means to miss the mark, but it don't mean you've been bent. And
Ooh.
so when the bow and arrow, when the bull's eye, when you're aiming for the bull's eye, and that arrow which was straight, has
Right.
been bent, it has zero chance of hitting the mark.
My God, that's good. Yes, sir.
And so many times we're born with bent arrows
Right. Right.
that need to be replaced. I used to get these darts, and you can take the dart, screw that end off, and put another fresh end on.
Okay.
That's what the word is supposed to do. That's why we're supposed to be transformed by the renewing of our mind
Right.
to get that bent totally off and have a shot, aim at straight shooting. Now, if you miss the mark but your arrow is straight, it simply means you're unskillful.
Right. Ooh.
You have to develop skill
Right.
so that you learn how to hit the mark all
Come
the
on, man.
time.
Come on, man.
You get what I'm saying? But when you're bent,
Yeah.
chances of you hitting that mark are almost 0 to none.
Right. Right.
And so, my thought behind this is many times we got to internally look and appreciate, and I say this respectfully, we got to appreciate when God exposes to us
Right.
our weakness,
Right.
and don't kill the one that's been brought to help you.
Come on. Come on.
We had a brother in town, and you know exactly who it was, and they were angry with me. I never knew why. I never knew why. I just never knew why.
Yeah.
And it was central around my musicianship, and and I could never figure it out. And I would go try to make friends, make up with them, and they were like cold to me. And till one day I just said, "Forget you,"
Right.
and walked. You know, your pride kind of get up in there.
Right.
I don't need this.
Right.
And one day the Lord made it so that I would have to run into him, and we would have to face each other. And the Lord said, "What are you going to do?" And I decided, not that just I was going to be the bigger person, because that's not always the case. You know, we always talk about I'll be the
Yeah.
bigger person. No, I
Right.
had to really investigate my heart and not do an action. I had to change a person for an action.
Woo. Good
I
stuff.
had to change me to
Right.
give the, you
Right.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
You can do an action and still fail the test.
Right. Exactly.
That don't mean that you've really
Right.
won that battle. You just sitting there and you have bragging rights. Well, I was bigger than the other person. What
Right.
happens when you ain't bigger?
Right.
You know, because you just did the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't have the right heart.
Right.
So, man, eventually what happened is uh, we faced each other. We dealt with things. We didn't even have to bring up old stuff. We didn't have to bring up nothing. It was just like we just started communicating.
Okay.
Now that person and I are like this. Now I haven't talked to him in a long time, but man, I love that person. I
Right.
mean, and he loved me.
Right.
The thing the thing is, had we not faced the issue head on
Right.
and just overcame whatever we were feeling,
Right.
man, I wouldn't be able to have this conversation with you
Right.
legitimately.
Right.
I do it naturally,
Mm-hmm.
but not legitimately,
Right.
because we faced it, and now we're just close as ever. Um, like I said, I haven't talked to him in a long time, but if I did talk to him, he would be right on it. We would be right on it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he helped me see something about me, though.
Wow.
I believe I helped him see something about him.
Right.
This was his remark. Somebody said to him, I thought you didn't care too much about Harden." And he said, "He made me face him, and I
Wow.
found out it wasn't so bad."
Wow. Wow.
You understand?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's great.
Sometimes what we're facing is rooted in jealousy,
Mm-hmm.
and all we got to do is deal with ourselves. I
Right.
believe if Cain had dealt with himself,
Right.
Abel and him, he and Abel would have had a significant growing period together, although God was still going to pull Japheth or Noah from Cain.
Right. Right. Right.
You understand what I mean?
Oh yes.
I believe that a lot of the Nephilim and things that got caught up, the spirits that got caught up through the seed of Cain,
Right.
never would have been able to infiltrate, because what he would have done, he would have said, "Come here, brother. Let me show you what God showed me and how my
Right.
worship,
Right.
and let's do this." You get me?
Right.
And then we
Yeah.
sacrifice unto the Lord together.
Right.
Oh, come, let us reason together.
Right.
Let us exalt his name together.
Right.
Those are the things that we mess up. And there is strength in together. There is
Right.
power in together. One puts 1,000 to flight, two, 10,000.
Right.
Now, if I'm in a service and you in that service, and I'm feeling a little like I want to take this to the next level. You know what I'm about to do? Robert Jenkins, come up
Right.
here and help. Come up here. We
Right.
go prophet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Come on, let's.
Exactly.
Uh, because there's strength in unity. There's strength in
Right.
uniting. You're a
Right.
musician. Uh, to be on one accord, I often do this in church. Like I'll have people hit 2 or 3 notes, or I have them hit a C chord, and the C chord is made up of 3 notes. Uh,
Right.
uh, 3 notes. So what I tell them is hit the C chord, bam, and then I say back up and hit each note individually that make the C chord. So it goes note, note, note. But when
Right.
you hear the note, you don't hear the chord.
Right. Right. Right.
All you hear is the note. So
Right.
what you hear is the individual, but not the purpose of the individuals.
Right. Right.
And there is
Exactly.
no unity. And when there's the lack of unity, there is no strength. That C
Right.
chord is making those notes. And with that
Right.
right hand hitting those notes, it sounds good. But what happens when you fill in with your left hand? And you put
Ooh.
that one chord together, and what we call it is make it big.
Right. Right.
Right? So when we do that, we make it big. Now, what if we were to come together and get over our Saul and our David and our Saul,
Right.
our Cain and our Abel and our Saul, Cain. What if we get over that and start working together?
My God. My God, man.
What if we did that? And see, you're so right, because when you talk about the first black on black crime, I mean, I know everything has kind of been whited out, and to understand our contribution or our lack thereof, we must understand our origination. You
Right.
understand?
Hmm.
Hey, Derek, Milton. But when we understand our origination, then we can fix where we've been lacking. We don't like to admit stuff.
Right.
We rather cry Black Lives Matter than to say Black Lives Matter to Black people. So get yourself together. Quit killing each other, Chicago.
Right. Right.
We would rather blame somebody else instead of
Hmm.
fix the issue.
Right.
Uh, it's time for us to begin to fix our own issues before we complain about other people and how they treat us.
Woo! Come on, man. Come on.
Sam, Prophet Japheth, I see you. I'm going to text you in a little bit. Forgive me. I've been very tied up. Please forgive me. But that's an incredible prophet right there. Seriously,
Praise
Rob.
God.
But when we talk about that black on black crime, slavery wasn't committed just because of European or Ashkenazi Jews decided that they wanted to just infiltrate Africa. That would have been horrible. Africans would be working together. No, what happened is Africans started selling a tribe of people that they were
Right.
mad at. They didn't
Right.
like. They were distinguished. They were a
That's
set of
right.
people, chosen people that looked just like them.
Hmm. Come on.
And those people shipped over, according to Deuteronomy 28:68, just like Deuteronomy 28:68, shipped, brought over into another land called Egypt.
Hmm.
In Okay, and so then we get over and we're in slavery. All right, so you're in slavery, and then the day comes for your emancipation, and you don't know how to be emancipated because you would rather live in the wilderness where you get to fight each other and complain.
Wow.
And I believe that Cain and Abel's spirit extended itself even through the womb of Noah,
Right. Right.
all the way up into this time.
Right.
And man, Kevin Spivey, you can see Kevin Spivey on there.
Yeah, I see him. Uh huh.
What's up, Spivey?
What's
But
going
that
on,
that
man?
is I dominate the conversation, man. Please forgive me.
No,
That's my little bit.
I want you to flow, man. I want you to flow. You said something, man. I mean, everything you said was so powerful. But I want to go back to the 2 points when we deal with what our parents did not fight. You talked about the children of
Yeah,
Israel and how, because the Bible says in First John, we don't see it in Genesis, but we do see it in First John, that Cain is of the evil one. We
that's
know
right.
something went between Eve and Adam that we don't really, I don't think we tie it to Cain, but we should. And God does, even when he talks about, he says, I know what you did. When he talks to the serpent, he talks to him like he knew something went on. He said, I know what you did. And I'm going to put enmity between your seed and her seed. And I
That's
think a
right.
lot of things that our parents being infiltrated by the enemy in a lot of their lives have a lot to do with the spirit that ties to us. And so now Cain is of this wicked one. He hasn't did anything wrong, but he's of the wicked one. He's of a invasion that came through his mother. And so I think that's
Right.
very key when we deal with that. And even in Cain, you'll see angels coming down, having sex with the daughters of men, and you'll see this invasion. It's always been. This is what these new religions are coming up. They are invading God's people. And so I thought that was a very key point. And then you talked about how if Cain could have joined up with Abel's revelation, there are people that can help us with our problems that we may have got for our forefathers that have the revelation of how to get right with God. But the enemy, that invasion would make us kill the person who has the revelation to my promotion, that has the
That's
revelation to my elevation. So I have to know how to see the revelation in my brother, because something happened with mom, and because I was the chosen one, the enemy came after me first. You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
And so I want my brother not only to have a revelation of how to get to God, but how to help me get to God. Because there's a reason why we're brothers. It's a reason why you have the revelation and I have the calling. There's a reason why. And so a lot of times the devil makes us, because we don't know what came through my dad. I didn't know why my sexuality was so powerful. But my dad had a sexuality that was out of control. So there was a calling that was able, but there was a sexuality, a part of Robert, that was Cain. And my grandfather, he hid his sexuality because of the calling. So he would talk about it. He would say he never seen his wife naked. So I didn't think that was in the family. But then I realized as people passed on and died that this sexual spirit, this perversion, it's all through my lineage. And nobody warned me to say, even in your calling, you're going to get hot at night. You're going to want women. You're going to want this. Nobody gave me the revelation of how to carry my call, even with the invasion that came through my grandfather and my father. Because back in that time,
Correct.
we had our problems. We shouted over them. We spoke in tongues over them. But nobody had real conversations. So you can grow up in Cain because you get the revelation of how to do it. Go ahead. What you say?
And we kept family.
I
It
didn't
was
hear
just family secrets. Those were the
you.
secrets. We just kept them.
Exactly. And to embracing, like today, people that you know have the revelation of where you need to go. You know you have it. They've seen it. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to embrace that and be okay, like I said, you know, it takes a strong person to be okay with somebody who's just as great as you or greater. And to be able to appreciate them for what they do and not be intimidated, you know.
Or to ask them for help.
Right. Right.
Because
Right.
in order for you to get over to the next place, you need somebody there to get you there.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know,
Right.
your humility can make you even greater than the one you had to ask for help.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah. And see, that's something that I long for, because let me tell you how the enemy tried to come in with me. Many people would call me by night. They would treat me like Nicodemus treated Jesus. I remember when
Right.
I was pastoring church, members would call me and tell me how bad their church was and how much I helped them and how much I blessed them. And I remember Pastor Henry's told me something I'll never forget. He said, everybody who hear you won't follow you. And that
That's
was
right.
devastating for me, because they want to call you by night. They'll tell you how much you blessed them, but then they'll turn around and go back and be with the very thing that they say is killing them. And
That's
so
right.
you like you this pawn. Or I remember when I was crying out for real friendship as a brother, and people only wanted me because I could give out nuggets or the revelation that I had, or because drums. And I used to say, who's going to love me for who I am and not for what I do? I don't want to be loved. What if I couldn't play? What if I was just a regular person, didn't have the revelation that I have? Do I have a brother that God has assigned to walk with me in my life, but not just to be a part of the giver? So, you know, so I begin to say that most people are takers. And
Right.
I struggle, in the enemy sending suicide. He sent a lot of things, and God saved me from it. But he sent a lot of things to my mind because I couldn't find my brother. I couldn't find my brother who wasn't trying to kill me or take from me for real
Right.
love. You know what I'm saying? And so this is real things that we go through, you know, that we don't always tell everybody, you know. And then my need
Man.
wanted to be loved, Dwayne, made me settle for that. Well, at least you.
Right.
So let me give you a message. Let me give you a nugget. I know you got to preach tomorrow. The only reason you calling me because you got to preach tomorrow. Let me go ahead and share. And then you're going to get up and preach, and people are going to say you great when 99% of your messages came from what you got from me. You
That's
know?
right.
And then I don't want to be egotistical, like saying you got that from me, because then my humility says be humble. So now I'm looking like I don't know how to handle even doing what God tells me to do, because the Cain side of me saying that's crazy, man. You're being a fool. So these are the things that we struggle with, you know, real talk.
Oh man. It is very real talk. I mean, first of all, we got to overcome false humility. That's one thing we got
Mm-hmm.
to do, because people know how to manipulate you. I had a young lady to borrow money off of me, right?
Right.
She borrowed money to go bury her sister. And she said, I'll pay you back. I said, I'm going to have to borrow it. I borrowed it from the church. And I was like, I got to put it back. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she said, no problem. And man, and then I said, you need to come pick it up. And she went berserk, like, I need you to bring it to me. And I figured out a way to bring it to her. All right, just speed up. About 3 years later, I hear from that individual. And that individual just wants to start talking like nothing ever happened. And I said, wow, it's funny hearing from you. I haven't heard from you since you borrowed that money and decided you go keep it. I said, you could have at least told me that you were not going to, that it was money that you didn't plan on returning.
Right.
She says, your church let me have it. I guess that means if it comes from the church, then the church should be able to do whatever she can, whatever she wanted to the church.
Ooh.
And I told her, no, I did. They let me borrow it.
Right.
You
Wow.
understand? And so she says, all right, Mr. Apostle Harden, you know we'll be needing help. And something, that false humility came in and said, well, she right, let her say whatever she want to. But then I turned around and said, nah, you're not going to get away with this. And I said, you know what? What you're saying is that you can take advantage of a church. And then you can say any bad thing you want to say about it whenever you feel like talking bad about a church. But everybody that talks bad about churches are always willing to take money from them.
Ooh.
You follow me?
Yeah.
And the Lord said, no, you don't have to let her slide. Now, she probably won't pay it back. But at least she's not going to be able to sit there and say, Pastor Dwayne did me wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
They often turn it around. He did me wrong. And that's because we find ourselves in a place of false humility, and we cannot do that. And the other thing I heard you say, which was extremely true, relevant, and anybody that's going to get in ministry is going to find that you're going to oftentimes walk alone while trying to impress people.
Yep.
You will be able to impress them. They'll steal your stuff because they don't have the time to work for it. They don't have the time to work to be great. You know what I mean?
Right.
They don't have focus that's necessary. Hold on one second. They don't have the focus that's necessary to go in and get a word from God.
Wow.
So they'll rather borrow your word.
Right.
So they're never going to be at a place of real revelation.
Right.
They might, or how do I say, transformation. They're always going to be able to give exciting stuff. So they'll use it as a book and use it as a close. While we're working for transformation,
Right.
for just having fun. And yes, it's illegal, Cassandra, but at the same time, going ahead. You can have that one. I had to get wise, bro. I had to get wise and say, I can't give y'all all my goods.
Right.
Because I've people get on television and preach an entire message.
Right.
And now they saw my outline.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my meeting, repeat my quotes that they've never heard. Nobody's heard them. You got those things. And I have principles that I live. My principle is if Robert said it, I'm going to get up and say, Robert said, my friend Robert said, Robert Jenkins said such and such, and I thought it was wonderful. Here's my other piece I'm going to add to it. But that came from him. You get me? And joke about it. I heard me say it he get the credit the first time, but at least I'm there focused on, because I want to be an original.
Right.
But when the people are so busy stealing from you, that means they don't have a water flow, a fresh stream.
Right. Right.
And you got to be careful where you allow people to get their water from.
That's it. Ooh, good word, man.
Follow what?
Yes, sir.
You got to be careful where you get your water from, who you allow at your water stream.
Right.
Because they appreciate the water. They won't appreciate what they want is to find a way to get themselves more exposure.
Right.
Now, with that, I've done the same thing, man. I mean, I done lit it up and gave people 100% only for them to give me nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came to grips with, okay, I'm good. Now,
Right.
if I can just have one good friend or
Right.
one place to go, I'm going to be fine. But
Right.
until that, I'm going to relax right here and be good with God by myself.
That's it.
Get what I mean?
Yes,
Be
sir.
good by myself until certain things. See, most of the time, there are people going through what you're going through and dealing with what you're dealing with. But people like that kind of a person is too busy working to be on the phone all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
you talk all the time. I mean, we don't
Right.
talk all the time, but
Right.
when we do, it's like, bam, we we
Exactly.
we we getting this whole
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
You follow
Oh yeah.
Bellinger? For your call, man. I got that date for you, but um, but when we do talk, there's a refreshing,
Mm-hmm.
and then we go
Right.
back to our continually
Right.
find what the saying. Now we could
Right.
call each other today. We could do
Right.
that, and we meet
Right.
each other. But the reality of it is, sometimes we're only alone because we never picked up the phone.
Right. Good word. Good word, man.
You know,
Good.
and sometimes we're looking for that person to pick up the phone with who can open a door, as opposed to the person who can open you.
Ooh, good word. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we develop these kinds of soul. I mean, and then there was something else you said, which was extremely powerful. People call you. They're not looking for deliverance, brother. They're not looking
Right.
for deliverance. What they're looking for is conversation and pacification.
Ooh, good
That's what.
word.
And so they begin to expose everything and tell everything. And when they go back, they go back. You know why? Because many times they have spiritual soul ties
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to the hurting them, because somewhere in their nature, in their Cain or in their Abel, in their Cain or their Saul, uh, you know, they have become accustomed to the abuse or accustomed to the evil in their heart, or they're accustomed to the evil going on. And you can spend an hour, 2 hours, a day, a week bringing deliverance to them. But it's easier to go back to where they're comfortable
Right. Right.
and
Right.
refuse to come back into line.
Right.
So I decided, this is what I decided. A great influence of mine. Wes Morgan's father is Joseph Morgan, Pastor Joseph Morgan. And
Okay.
he preached a message on wisdom one day. He did an entire series. And in that series, he says, don't deliver wisdom to people who didn't ask for it.
Wow. Wow. That's big.
So now what I do is I say, do you want to hear my wisdom? Because if not, I can keep it.
Right. Right.
But you will be accountable for it after you hear it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You know, and so I that was big to me. If they don't want your wisdom, you got to get, because they're going to be accountable for it even after they get it. I
Right.
almost would rather not, so that they don't be accountable for it when I
Right. Right.
know
Right.
they don't plan to.
Right. 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 And that's something I learned too. Being an apostolic father, when God sent
That's
you to
right.
people, he sent you to people. Two things God revealed to me. He'll send you to the worst who really are the best.
That's good. That's good. I
Awesome.
just talked about
Yeah.
that today.
Yeah. He'll send you to the worst who really are the best. And
That's right.
people whose life has been crashed there's certain mechanics that can fix a car that everybody else say is total. But there's certain mechanics that is not total. That's what I do. I fix cars that are at its worst. So I
Brother,
realized God raised me up to be the apostle. So he's going to send people to me. When he sends people to me, they are usually at their worst. And I am the last mechanic to work on their lives. When
that's right.
I'm done with them, they have to do what God called to do, because there's no one else that God has qualified. I am that last resort to make you back to become the best that you're called to be. And so I'm not intimidated if it's homosexuality, if it's lesbian, if you murdered people, if you lost a church, if you've been married 5 times. I'm not intimidated because I can handle cars that have been crashed. I don't expect for it to work when I get, but I know how you were supposed to be designed. God gave me insight to repair you. So I had to learn that, you know. So then God gave me another piece. He says, you're looking for people who are looking for you. If they're not looking for you, then you're not looking for them. See what I'm saying? Because they're looking for that person that is not afraid of the damage, but know the treasure and bring it out. So I had, and so that helped me out so much because that was my own life. I knew that was me, been damaged. But if you really can see who Robert Jenkins is, if you really could see what God's given and have the wisdom to know how to do that. And so that's what I realized. So it's again, that my rejection helped me see the Cain in my Abel, like you said. That helps you pull it out, helps to pull the Saul out of the David and the David out of the Saul. And so that's what I'm called to do. So I had to learn that. And it's good because I learned it through struggles, you know, because God was healing me at the same time. You know, Pastor Henry said something again that was, I didn't agree with it when he first said it because I wanted to be loved so much. I wasn't totally healed. But he said something to me so profound. He says, if you need them, you can't lead them. And
that's right.
Woo, I didn't want that because I want to need, you know what I'm saying? But then when I got the revelation, here's the revelation of Abel that can help you. You know what I'm saying? When I got the revelation, I realized it because it's almost like when Jesus looked down at Mary, he calls her woman. When she looks up at him, she calls him son. He knows that if he sees her as a mother, he may come off the cross. You have to be very careful of relationships that will have you come off the cross.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to learn, you know.
Powerful. That is powerful. Go ahead, man.
You know, and so again, so that was me learning how to stay on the cross and realize the relationship that we must have now. You know what I'm saying? But I learned that through struggles, and it was good because God made me. You know, when God, you know, God puts His hand in you, and then you try to get other people to wear the glove when it was been designed for God. I had to learn that my eyesight was designed for God. You know, I've been doing this whole teaching on John the Baptist and Jesus, and it's so amazing how the angel tells his father he can't cut his hair.
Right.
He's not even born yet, and they saying you can't cut your hair. Now the truth of the matter is, whatever you're preaching, your hair has nothing to do with it. But why you can't cut your hair? Why is this diet tied to your call that doesn't hinder you from doing your call? Because your call is so set apart that it's signifying that you have to have something on your head, which is represent glory or the glory of God, cannot be touched by man. And so a lot of times we have not embraced the diet for our call that may not hinder our call, but it's a part of it.
Dude,
there's some things that are not lawful for me. They're not expedient because of my call, not because they are a sin, but because of my call. I can't do this, or can't go there, or can't give you that, or can't play with this. It has nothing to do with my ability, but has everything to do with my position in God. You know?
That is profound, man.
Oh, praise God, man.
That is profound.
I mean, look at him. Like cutting his hair. What they got? Whether he have long hair or short hair, he still can say, "You generation of vipers." But it was signifying his call even before he got in the womb. This was something that was told to his dad. He cannot drink strong drink. He cannot have his hair cut. I need you to raise him up knowing his purpose. And so there's a lot of things that we never get to help in our Cain because we never honor the diet to our call. The diet to our call. Not the calling itself, but the diet. You know, I got friends that are models, and because they want to be a model, they have never eaten 2 pieces of pizza. I'm saying pizza is not a sin, but it's going to hinder, it's going to violate my design. And most times we don't know what violates your design. See, you can do things that are against your design.
That's powerful, man. Do you know what? I just wrote a note. Samson's purpose was not connected to his perfection. It was connected to his obedience.
Ooh. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Don't cut your hair. I'll even let you mess up. Just don't cut your hair.
Right.
Stick to the diet. The diet will cover you.
Right.
Not let you disobey me.
Right. Right.
Disobedience weakens you, even though you're forgiven.
Ooh.
No need
Ooh.
for, you get me?
Ooh.
So hair loss, the hair loss was devastating. You understand?
Yes,
Get
sir.
it, bro? I get it. I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. Uh, I get it. It's we got to make sure that we don't. I wrote that note that Rod said, Pastor Rod, Bishop Rod said,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
because I believe that you can't
Yeah.
lead who you got to
Yes.
be, because they will dog you out and you will feel neglected.
Right. Right.
You can't lead feeling neglected.
Right.
You
Right.
need somebody tell you I hate you. You still got to take them to the other side.
Come on, man. Come on.
You still got to take them to the other side. You follow? It's
Oh, I got.
and then the other side, per adventure, they apologize, but
Mm-hmm.
they might not. It
Right.
was still your purpose to get them to the
Right.
other side. What
Right.
happens when God has you leading people who will never love you, but they will
Ooh.
die in the wilderness, and He's committed to the covenant of making sure that they don't die in a wilderness? So He
Wow.
put you in their life, even though they don't love you, to get them to the other side.
Wow. That's major. That's major. Yes,
You got to
sir.
make up your mind on moving without the favor of the people, but the favor of God,
Right.
the
That's it.
favor of positioning of God.
That's it.
Uh,
That's. Did I ever tell
Man,
you that? I ain't gonna hold you, man. I thank you for coming on. I'm gonna say this point and I'm gonna let you go. Do you ever heard that? Did I ever tell you that story about Sidney Poitier when he won his award? Did I ever share that
no,
with you?
no,
Sidney Poitier won this award, man, and they gave him an award for being the first. It was the first black man who did something in the
I
movies,
do
and they gave him
remember
this.
this. Yeah, go ahead, say it again.
Yeah, yeah. And he said, sometimes you have to be willing to. He says, when I first did the movie, he says, I didn't think I was the first. I just knew I was alone. And he said, sometimes you have to be willing to be alone in order to be the first.
That's
And
right.
that has helped me so much of knowing that God is using me to do some things, but I have to know how to be alone till later they say he was the first. And most people want to do great things with company. They don't want to do things alone. And so, we know the Bible says when the seed falls to the ground and dies alone, they're alone time with God. And I think that's the key, even back to the Cain and Abel, that I'm going to be alone. You said something so powerful. Cain, everything comes through Cain lineage. But after he does this terrible crime, he's alone. Then he
That's
has to
right.
accept family and everything. So that I think that's so key because it's in the alone time that I see myself.
Yeah,
Always everything we should do in an audience of one, just in the
that's
audience of.
it. We will see ourselves if we don't mope and if we don't lay in the bed instead of look in the mirror that's only exclusive to our bedroom.
Ooh,
What we
ooh.
tend to do is we tend to lay there but never look at ourselves
Right,
and
right.
get when somebody describe our insufficiencies that we could have handled if we handled our alone time.
Wow, man. Well, man, I thank you, man. I appreciate all that you do today, man. I appreciate that. This was a surprise today, but man, you was a blessing to it as always, man. Keep us in prayer. We talking about the Cain and Abel tomorrow. I want you to be interceding for us. I know it's going to be a very touchy subject. I wanted someone who have been involved in homosexuality to be able to come forth that may be free and transparent enough. I haven't been able to find that person yet, but I want to deal with that. Um, my stepfather was a homosexual. My mother married him and raised. I mean, and my stepfather showed me more love than my natural father did, and it was amazing. God changed my paradigm of shifting because I would have never knew the struggle and the love that they may have in their struggle if it wasn't for the man who didn't know how to be a man chose to be over two sons. It was my stepfather who married my mother knowing she had 2 boys and knowing what his struggle was in his identity. And he was the one that put the baby grand piano in the living room and the Leslie organ and the Leslie speaker. He was the one that took me to church and said, wherever church I play at, my son must play the drums. And so I remember that. So I am very sensitive for people who have serious struggles but have serious treasures, you know.
And the other thing about him, he never denied you.
Never denied me. Come on, man.
Through every weakness, he never denied.
Never denied me. Never.
You understand? What happens when somebody has the ability to love you? Tainted. They're tainted, but their love is non-contaminated.
Ooh. Ooh.
We should pick and whose love we want to receive.
Right. That's it.
And it's dangerous because if it wasn't for him,
come on,
in
man,
many ways, you wouldn't have been exposed to a lot of the things you were exposed to.
A lot of things. Even the ministry. The first person that licensed me was his best friend, Reverend C. Ricardo Walker. He passed now at Mount Zion Baptist Church.
Right.
Because of him. It's because of him that I met the Melvin Catleys in the Church
right.
Robertson Seniors and
the
Davy Wallaces, those old musicians, the Wilbert Irvins, that made room for me to be the drummer. Because in the Baptist churches, they had the boat drums in. And it was Aaron that he let me start playing for the concerts. And then they eventually started letting drums. Kojic always had drums, but Baptist did not. I remember that era when it was hard to get. And it was through those people, you know, the Janet Simons at New Bethel and those that loud drums that eventually come in, you know, and to have that. So he had a whole lot to do, even for my preaching. And Reverend Walker sent me to Dallas, you know, theology college to get my degree in theology and different stuff like that. That came through a Baptist church, but it came through my stepfather, you know what I'm saying? And even though my grandfather was a Church of God in Christ pastor, my dad and him had such a big fallout because of his religious restriction that he had, that I didn't come through that route. And then meeting you, and you helped bind the difference because you never treated me no different, even though I was raised Baptist, you was raised Kojic. And so you killed a lot of things that I was seeing at that time, you know, you killed a lot of that. So, but it was only through Aaron that gave me the opportunity, even to practice. I could practice every day. My mother let me practice my drums from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock every day of the week. I had 4 hours. That I don't care who came over. She never told me to stop. That's because Aaron said that boy need to practice. He loves to practice. Don't stop his passion. My dad wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's real. So even though he had his struggles, so I care about those. And that's what I tell people. A lot of times we criticize the behavior of people, but if you don't love them, you can't help them. If you don't love them, you can't serve them, you know? And so that's very key. So a lot of times we don't hear people praying about the deliverance of homosexuality. We hear the criticisms, but if the devil always puts the greatest minds in prisons, always. Anybody who has a great mind, he puts them in some form of prison. And so we have to see why this type of attack on their lives and what could they bring. And we have to be honest that most of our churches are built on the people who have these struggles. Our greatest songs come from the people who had these struggles, our greatest worship. So what if, again, if Abel was able to have a conversation with Cain and be able to show him the revelation of how to get free, how much more can we move in the body of Christ?
Robert, one of my statements is, if you're not willing to get dirty, don't talk about the person who is filthy.
Ooh, my God. Ooh.
Go in and touch them.
That's it.
Don't stand up in a pulpit and attack them.
That's it. Oh my God. If you ain't willing to touch them, don't stand in the pulpit and attack them.
That's right. See, because if you touch them, you'll be touched by the feeling of their infirmity.
Woo!
And it'll cause you to have compassion to bring deliverance.
Right.
All the attacks were unwarranted. Let me say they were unwise.
Right.
Because didn't nobody attack you and your nasty self.
Right. Come on now.
With 100 women.
Right.
You follow?
Yep.
I mean, you need deliverance too. 100 women.
Come on.
Sleeping with a woman in every city that you preaching at.
Come on, man.
And you go get up and attack homosexuals?
Come on.
Who are you? Did you get dirty?
Right.
Don't talk about my filth unless you're willing to get dirty.
Come on, man. Come on, man. I heard a true story. You might have heard this story too about a bishop that was in a large organization, and he was known for being a homosexual. And they called him in the office and said, "You got to stop messing with all these boys, and you doing all this, and you wow." And the preacher said, "When y'all stop messing with all y'all women, I'll stop messing with all my men."
Yeah.
And the meeting was over.
The meeting was over. I remember this particular meeting. I remember they went after another great bishop, and they said, "We need you to stop all this cussing you doing." And he said, "I'm going to need you, before you judge me, to stop sleeping with sister so-and-so.
Right.
Now, if you want to, I can make that public." Shut it down.
Right. Real talk. Real talk.
But the reality of it,
I thank you for that, man. Love your spirit, man. We definitely gotta make this connection happen. I gotta come to Atlanta. You gotta come to New Orleans or something.
I'm gonna make it happen, man. I mean, I'm gonna get you here for real soon. I mean, I keep my word, so I'm gonna make that happen because, first of all, I got about at least 15 people on here right now, and they gonna remind me. So, but no, I really want you to come anyhow, because you're very powerful, and I appreciate it, man. I really do appreciate you. And tell Cassandra she the bomb. I like her.
Thank you, man. I love her to death. And you know what? We're gonna come together, even if I don't minister. I know what God says, but man, just for the fellowship and the support, I think we gotta learn to let people see us together, not always because we can do. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't have to be that. You know, I believe in what God is doing. I want to be a part of the atmosphere as well and to grow. You know what I'm saying? So if God say that, but the truth of the matter is God speak to you. I tell people, you know, we don't need lights among lights. We need lights in a dark place. So, and that's very key. So I'm not, you know, God has healed me for so much. I'm a person that doesn't have to always do. You know, matter of fact, sometimes I'll be needing a break. I'll be needing to relax and need people to speak into my life. So we thank God, you know, if you have me come and have me speak, but just to come and be with my brothers, because we got to learn to walk together, man. We know how to preach together, but we don't know how to walk together, you know, and that's very important. Very important.
We're going to do it, but you're not coming here and not preach. I tell you that. I appreciate all the nice, kind, humble stuff you said. You're preaching.
Okay.
Yep. And I mean that.
Thank you. I'm going to let you go. Thank you for coming on, man, and love you much, man. Okay, the hour is late. Thank all those who stayed. I hope you was.
We talked about a lot today. We shared a lot. That was Apostle Dwayne Harding. He is in Atlanta, Georgia. I think his church is called the Embassy. Please look him up. Please befriend him. He'll probably be coming on in a minute talking. He's a powerful man of God. We've been friends over 30 years. I thank all the people who came on today. Brother Alfie, man, I hope you can come on tomorrow, man. I've been looking for brothers to come on. So if you can get a chance, man, I want you. But thank you, man. Love what you're doing and love you much. I thank all those who are listening. I hope you've been blessed. Father, we thank you for this word. Thank you for this insight. Thank you for clarity today. Thank you, Lord, that you're teaching us how to become men of God, how to handle our Cain, how to deal with the spirit of jealousy and envy. God, I thank you for the spirit of unity, that we're coming together as brothers and sisters, as husbands, as wives, as fathers and sons, daughters and mothers. And we thank you, Lord, for what you're doing, the gathering of the Spirit, the gathering of the anointing. God, we bless you, Father, in Jesus' name. And Lord, we thank you for everyone that heard what we're saying, that it will make an impact on their life, that they'll begin to make impacts on others. We ask all these things in the wonderful name of Jesus. God bless you. Thank you. Please be in prayer. Do not miss tomorrow. Tomorrow's a very sensitive sensitive issue. We're dealing with people who we classify as dirty and nasty, but we want to deal with some things, help those people, help ourselves. Everybody has hidden secrets, and we're going to know how to deal with it. We're going to deal with the feminine spirit of the masculine man and how it's trying to castrate us. We're going to deal with, in my Father's house, the spirit of a eunuch. We're going to deal with men who struggle with the down low, homosexuality, want to be free. You're surprised at the people who are living their life. They're tired of living. They just don't know how to be free. story. They don't know how to come out. They don't know how to begin a change. It's a very powerful thing. So I need people to be here tomorrow. Be prayerful. Be sensitive. Let's be open. And let's be a blessing to the nation. Okay? Be a blessing to the nation. Don't forget, I talked about you're called to help redemption. You're called for salvation. These people, all of us, if somebody wouldn't have rescued me, who knows what I could have been. And if you tell the story, we all been somewhere. But we all come out of darkness into the marvelous light. We all come out of Egypt into the promised land. Meet me here tomorrow, same place, same time. 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern Time. Then in my Father's house, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about 2 subjects. The first one is going to be connected to the second one. Okay, God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you. We love you. Please hit that share button before you go. Please go to YouTube and watch the videos. And don't forget to go to Amazon. Look it up. The Journey of False Perceptions by Robert Jenkins. And please download the book. Okay, love you, God bless you, and enjoy your rest of your day.